All right, everyone. It is time for the RGH podcast. We got a juicy one today. I say that every single episode, but we got a juicy one today.
You can just bank on it, every week.
There's always new information. There was literally 4 seconds before this. 4 seconds before this, Fwiz from YouTube posted something that became a topic. Like, that's how you know they always have.
We're up to date, baby.
Right?
We're up to date.
Wednesday's the day,
You know what's gonna be juicy when you got the three juiciest dudes in gaming giving you the juiciest takes in gaming about the juiciest topics in gaming. You know what I'm saying?
Right?
We got the juice, baby.
So today we're gonna be talking about trials. There's been some drama in the community, but also, I think part of it might have just been the map. Honestly, we'll get into it, but trials has some drama.
We'll get into why you're wrong about that, actually. But
you think so? Okay, we'll get into it. Blizzard is imploding. The SEC is now involved. There is, I don't even know if rage is the right word, but rage in the Genshin Impact community. People threatening to quit, all because of the anniversary event coming up. YouTube streaming just posted a bunch of information right before the podcast, where they're adding some features that were not available anywhere but Twitch, and now they're bringing it over to YouTube. That's great. And then fall releases are right around the corner. We want to talk about some games that are coming. Some recent ones like even in the last day and tomorrow. Diablo's coming tomorrow. Diablo Resurrected is coming tomorrow. So lots
2 weeks away from Far Cry 6.
Yep. New World is going to be out. Like there's just so much going on. So let's start right at the top with Destiny, because I know a lot of you guys are Destiny fans. I know we do talk about it a lot, but the thing is like they're making sweeping changes to the game, and they have such a dedicated audience. Every week there's like something big. Apex Legends is like, all right, guys, we'll see you next season, and here's some patch notes here and there. Call of Duty is like 100,000 cheaters every day. We don't care. We're not changing anything in the game. But Destiny, always changing, always tinkering, always updating. And last weekend we were saying they broke records with Trials of Osiris. We
had nothing but good things to say.
Yeah,
man.
it was like the most played. And then they're like, do you know what? Let's change.
I don't know where
everybody's happy. Let's change things.
I don't know where my tinfoil hat is, but I got a freaking conspiracy about that one.
Oh, can't wait. Is it? Are you make a problem, fix a problem, get the hype, or what?
No, it's even more conspiratorial than that. All right. Well, should we explain what's going on? Should we explain what's going on for people?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the quick rundown. Last weekend was the first trials of Season of the Lost. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in the game, and it's been there's several overhauls. You no longer have to win matches per se. You still have to win 7 in a row to go flawless, but it's more about rounds won than games won. You now get experience. Saint 14 is redone like most of the other vendors. He's absolutely yeeting out loot. Like
he's just yoked with.
Like people are getting rewards left, right, and center when you do get a Trials Engram. Which remember, you can level him up for completely getting 5-0'd. It's not fun, but you can still get a little bit of experience.
It'll be slower.
You get a Trials Engram, and you can decode it into whatever you want. So that means no more dead weekends, no more weekends where it's trash rewards, because it's always relevant to what you need at the time. So there is some massive player engagement with that. So here are the records. It is the most played Trials of Osiris in Destiny 2 ever. So from Season of the Worthy, from when it was reintroduced till now, 750,000 players are playing versus like 450 when it first came out. Like
any video game would any game would be happy to have that many players in a weekend.
Blew past it, right?
Let alone being a singular playlist. Yeah,
exactly. So amazing response. Then it comes to this weekend, and Bungie tries to address mostly positive, but there was some criticisms. A lot of people felt like, hey, if I'm single queuing, why am I only matching full stacks and getting destroyed? I shouldn't be matching flawless players. So what Bungie did was this. When you go flawless this weekend, so I go flawless.
Which is 7 games won in a row without losing.
7 games in a row, no losses. Then I get put in the flawless player pool, right? And from then on, for the rest of the weekend, The game tries to match me with people who have also gone flawless in this flawless pool. So as the weekend continues on, the theory is more and more new players who've never been flawless, like they're not supposed to even match the people in the flawless pool. So flawless is going to get easier and easier and easier as the weekend goes on.
Yeah.
This caused an absolute shitstorm. Like this was like you had the hardcores didn't like it, right? We'll kind of talk about why, but the hardcores didn't like it. They felt, hey, this is unfair to me, especially because it doesn't reset when you reset your card. Like, let's say I'm an above average player and I squeak a flawless buy, I barely get flawless. I get flawless and I immediately lose because once you go flawless, you can keep playing games and not reset your card, and you will get adept loot. You will get flawless rewards randomly at the end of games. So a lot of people, in fact, I don't think anyone had any problem enabling a flawless pool while you're still farming that flawless card. But let's say you go flawless, you get the chest, you want to keep farming, you immediately lose, right? You immediately lose. You're back to square one. You got to reset your card, but now you're at 0 wins. It doesn't matter. All your wins are now going to be against flawless opponents.
So if you lose, you're getting punished. Like it is, you completely screwed yourself.
The rest of your weekend is harder. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, people are saying, so what? That you can still get flawless rewards. You have to like get 7 wins on a card. It doesn't have to be flawless. You can turn that card in for adept loot. People are saying, you finally have to have a fair match, right? So it was like the Marvel Civil War. It was the Destiny 2 Civil War between the casuals and the sweats battling it out. And it was wild.
All right, I'm going to talk about my experience with this, and I'll try to play devil's advocate a bit. And this is actually one of the things that I think I got more hate than I should have gotten hate
can
on
I
Twitter
say,
no, you may not.
I'm in the same. I just want to say I'm in the same boat. I didn't realize that drag shooting PvP KackisHD was a PvP sweat lord apparently. So yeah. I'm in the same boat as you, bud.
I played both sides of it. I tried to play devil's advocate on both sides of the issue. And what ended up happening was that the sweats hated me and the casuals hated me. Because I played both sides. So I was like, oh, well, I just pissed everybody off instead of just half of the community. But anyways, my experience with this was I went into it saying, and to be clear, there were a lot of content creators, especially those who do like carry services, who said, I'm going to go to 6 wins. I'm going to reset my card. They're PvP guys anyway. They don't care about an Adept Reed's Regret right now, and they'll get one later. What they wanted to do was just make sure that they stayed out of the flawless pool so that when they're doing their carries for money or for views, whatever they're doing it for, they don't, they make sure that it's easier for them. I did not do that. I decided, no, on Friday at reset, I'm going flawless, baby, because I want to be able to have a relevant opinion on the issue. Because if I don't go into the flawless pool, until Tuesday, I can't have an opinion on it because I didn't experience it. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to make sure that I said, okay, Bungie, I'll go along with this. I went flawless right off the rip and played the entire weekend in the flawless pool. I played on PC. I played on PS5. So I got the full spectrum of it. And I have to say, there were times early in the weekend that it was tough, and I did solo queue, stacked runs, and duo queue. Like I said, I did everything. Solo queuing on Saturday night was a freaking nightmare. Like I couldn't do anything, man. Like I was playing against stacks of 3. I was getting solo blueberries that didn't participate in some way, shape, or form.
So did you say rough. Saturday night?
So yeah, it would have been Saturday night.
Oh, so no wonder you were probably drunk by then. So no wonder you couldn't do anything.
Oh god.
Oh. All right, sorry. Keep going. Keep going. Sorry. Listen, I had to.
But I will say this: as the weekend went on, it got easier. I did. I banged out a couple of flawless runs on PC in the flawless pool on. Let's see, what was that? Monday? Yeah, it would have been Monday. And I did carries with a buddy of mine on Tuesday, and it was honestly totally fine. And all of it was better than Trials of Osiris was before any of these changes ever happened. So even after these changes, even though it was a sweat fest early in the weekend and easier later in the weekend, it was all of it better than it used to be. So I don't want to come out the gate and just be salty and upset. I want to make sure that that's clear. This is all improvement.
Yeah.
But here's where my concern is. This is something you touched on already. Is that my concern is that the common gamer is not going to want to stick around after they get that flawless passage, because two things: A, it is going to get a little bit more challenging if it's earlier in the weekend for them, and B, some people just get scared off by that idea, and then they're not even willing to try. Like, just the idea of saying, "Oh, now I have to play against people who've gone flawless," they're not even going to bother. And we saw that. Because what we saw is that we had a 7% increase in the number of people who went flawless for the first time. The trade-off, so that's good. That's an increase.
Let's stop there. Bungie's goal, this entire matchmaking change, the result for causing the Civil War, the result, 7% more people going flawless for the first time, right? Or just 7% in general?
Yeah, I think it was first time flawless.
First time flawless, 7% more people. There you go. That's what the matchmaking change is allowed. Now, what's the
trade-off? The trade-off is that there was a 32% decrease in overall matches played. So what that teaches us that we, and everybody always comes in, they're like, but we expected a drop-off. Yes, we did. We thought, okay, you know what? It's going to start tapering off slowly like it always does. Maybe a 10% decrease, 15% at the most. We got a 32%. It's a third of the matches played. That's a huge drop off. That's not something you can just sweep under the rug and be like, we kind of expected that was going to happen. Like, that's huge. Yeah.
Now,
so that's the trade off.
Something annoying that I found is that people have essentially, like, for me, obviously I have my opinions, but I try to be open and let's see what the data says, right? A lot of people I've found that you could shove the data in their face. They don't care. Their opinion is made up. They say, I think this way. And you show them the chart and they say, I don't care. Like, I'm not interested. I have my opinion made up. I'm stuck in the mud. All right. And that's super frustrating because the excuses people are coming up with, it's a different map. I heard multiple people I saw say the loot wasn't good. First of all, if you say the loot wasn't good, you're either dumb, stupid, or lying. Okay. Because I'm sorry. The Adept Reed's Regret was on offer. This is huge. The Reed's Regret is the only new weapon this season. Extremely desirable. The Adept version, especially for PvE, being able to put on Adept Big One spec, you had a lot of PvE players, including myself, coming into this playlist and really wanting this weapon. It's extremely desirable, okay? So you cannot say the loot is worse. The loot is better. Who the hell cares about the Shearer's Wrath, okay? It's already been in the game for a year. So, that's what I'm saying. The map, if you would have expected a worse map or a worse loot pool, people didn't care about the loot. The issue is that you had the player bases start at the same point. So here's like number of players. Last week started here and went like this, and it went up, and right? This week also started at the same exact point. The literal same amount of players started playing Trials, but then this weekend went like that.
Way faster.
So it's like, if you are going to say that the map was bad or the loot was bad, you would not have the exact same starting player count. You would have less players from the start because people would see the map and say, I'm not playing. Right? Why are they still playing?
Well, yes and no. Yes and no.
Yes.
Because
yes, that's how statistics work.
That's not entirely true. I mean, the numbers are
true.
The numbers are the same, but I will say this: the initial count that is, I don't think that's as important as you're thinking it is, because a lot of these people were not playing Trials. They had no freaking clue that Shores of Time sucks for Trials because they weren't playing Trials before. So they come in, they play it, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not digging this. This is not my thing," and then they bail. I will agree that the map this weekend does suck absolutely sucks for Trials. Long matches, long flanking routes that are just Team Fire Central. Don't dig it. Don't dig it at all. So that initial count, you have to remember that most of these people weren't. And when I say most, I mean most of these people, almost all of them, were not touching Trials last time this map was around. They had no idea that it sucked.
I don't know, dude. Like, again, like, you start. This is. So the starting point last weekend, all this hype about the new and improved Trials, like everyone coming in to check it out. And this weekend you have the same. I just think if you had worse map, if you had no desire for loot. Like something people said is, oh, everyone got the loot they wanted and they just stopped playing. Again, you would expect, if that was the case, you wouldn't have the same starting players. The difference is one went up, the other went the opposite direction. So clearly you had, and one of the most shocking things was like, what they found is when players went flawless, they got off for the rest of the weekend. They didn't play again. Whereas last weekend, the amount of people going flawless multiple times was significantly higher, like significantly. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just people farming. Essentially, you have, there's a huge group of people who basically can't possibly admit, either in public or to themselves, I guess, that average players can go flawless, especially now with these like new changes. An average team can go flawless, but if that average team does, it's thrown to the wolves. And again, that team is likely to go flawless, achieve that goal, and then lose right away. But it's like if they reset their cards, there's no getting out of it. And one of the problems that they found right away is that you can't play with friends. If I go flawless, I'm basically damaged goods. None of my friends want to play with you. You actually had LFG posts like, must have 2.0 KD, haven't gone flawless. That was LFG posts. That's what it turned into. Because no one wanted to play flawless with someone who's already been flawless.
I mean, here's the thing that I was thinking about too, is like average games played per team. You know, they go flawless and then they stop. That is obviously like a big risk. And if those players aren't in the pool, like kind of the average players aren't in the pool because they've you know, gotten lucky with matchmaking, got to their flawless. I feel like it just stagnates that playlist a lot. And, you know, you're working hard with your team. You're matching in. Maybe you're playing a bunch of games. You finally go flawless, and then they jack up the difficulty on you. That's really weird. But also, you're not in the other playlist. And so you start getting like these weird issues where right now, if everyone is in the same playlist, every single person is competing, you have a random number generator who you're going to match up with, right? The amount of the top 1% that you're going to match against, you have like a 1% chance, right? You have almost no chance. And so that's what the Mercy is all about. So if you're there with your team, ready to play, you've been working hard, you've been practicing, and you're beating all the average teams, all the average players, you're just that much better than them. And you run into one super good team, there's your Mercy, that's fine, you still go flawless. But now those average teams aren't as much in the pool. It's only sweaty players that are maybe waiting, maybe people that are resetting their cards to do carries before that are super good as well. But every like slightly above average team that grinds out and eventually gets in the flawless playlist, now they're gone. Now you're not going to match them. Your only alternative is super sweaty people, or I guess the worst players ever that you'll never lose to them. But it's like, it's just moving them into different places. And like I saw that the people that went early flawless, they were just having a bad time too. And they're like, well, now I don't want to do carries if it's going to be this hard because we're struggling with some of our good players. What happens if I try to pick up other people?
It's easily abusable because you just reset at 6 wins. If you're doing carries, you reset at 6 wins over and over again. So you absolutely farm a worsening player pool because all the good players are going flawless. Yeah. So they're getting worse and worse and worse, and you're at gatekeeping 6 wins like crazy, right?
Yeah.
So it's so easily abusable. And it's funny you have both, like the casuals would say, oh, you just want easy games, right? And that's something I saw a lot. You want easy games. We just want fair games. And it's like, you also want easy games because you're basically saying, I want this matchmaking system so I don't have to actually verse any good teams or teams that are better than me, right? But it's like, that's the point. If I run into Frostbolt, I'm losing. Like, I'm losing. I'm an above average player at best, right? That's it. So, like, for me, average to above average players always get screwed by these matchmaking systems. The hardcores will be fine. Grenadier Jake is still going to go flawless no matter what you do, right? Like, the guy has been going flawless against recovs and cheaters for the past year. He's going to be fine. The low skill players, they might benefit from this. Again, we got 7% more. That's good. Like, I don't want to diminish that. That's a good thing. But again, it's the average and above average that just like get a flawless and they're not guaranteed one, they get thrown to the wolves.
I guess I didn't really articulate my point the best way I wanted to, is like, for the people that are slightly above average and like last weekend they were getting extra wins on their card and having an opportunity to farm the adept weapons, Now you just can't. Like now it is much, much harder to do that. And so it's almost like you can go flawless once, and that's it now. Instead of you can go flawless, you can be on this hot streak with your team, maybe get some extra drops before you have to reset. I feel like they've taken that away. They've taken away the farmability and the hot streak and that feeling of like we're just gonna keep on chugging. And until Frostbolt does match me, I'll win most of my games because I've put in time to practice and play and stuff. So I feel like it's like, I don't know, they didn't make it as farmable. I farmed it this weekend with Frostbolt and Fruit, and like we had kind of a stacked team and we were farming, and the amount of rewards you can get is insanity. But now, because they've split that player base out, I feel like only the best of the best can actually farm it. A lot of people can go flawless once, and
yeah, like
then they're done. Then
exactly.
they're in the pool for me to farm them, and it's like, well, I don't know. It's just weird.
Would a decent alternative be to? I mean, and a lot of people are gonna immediately hate this. Would a good alternative just be to have some form of skill-based matchmaking in trials? And I don't mean matching you against players that are exactly at your skill level. What I mean is trying to make sure that outliers don't match each other. People always let me finish. People always get scared off with that term skill-based matchmaking because they think that means every game's going to be a sweat fest. And people really hate that idea. But there are levels and degrees of skill-based matchmaking. And one of the things I would really love to see is if they would experiment with this idea of just saying, listen, yeah, we're not saying that if you're a 6 out of 10, you're only going to match 5, 6, and 7s. What we are saying is that if you're a 1, you're not going to match a 9 or a 10. You know what I'm saying? Like, keep the outliers separate and still allow for some big fluctuations in average skill levels, but only maybe 5 degrees out of 10, not 6, 7, 8, because those are unwinnable matches. But one of the things that I've seen is that people will take screenshots of, there's apps out there, third-party apps, that will show you, based on average skill levels, your percentage chance of winning that match. And so people will screenshot their match history and be like, look at this! The other team had a 75% chance or more in all of my matches to beat me. Listen, those situations, I don't think they should happen. I think that all gamers, trials is not a competitive ranked mode. I think all players should be at home in that playlist and have the opportunity to farm the rewards. It was never pitched as a competitive thing. So if they were to experiment with just some outlier protection, I think that would be a good shot, because then you bypass the whole 6-win resetting. You bypass the whole concern about going flawless and then matching sweats that you have no shot at playing again.
Here's the thing, though. Like, Bungie almost solved it, right? Like, if they would have had it, what about this? Flawless Pool still exists, but it just resets when you reset your damn card. So then you still have all the Sweat Lords matching each other when they're trying to, like, obviously, once you go flawless and you're still on that flawless card, it should start to become difficult because you're getting flawless rewards. So as long as you're farming that card, as long as you haven't lost, it should be putting you against other people who haven't lost, right? And seeing who comes out on top. So you would take up a lot of matchmaking. You would take a lot of hardcore players out of the pool, and they'd be battling each other for those flawless games.
I think something like that would be cool, because it's like,
but then
you've gone flawless.
Yeah, you can reset then.
And if you lose, you can get back to that point where you can have an opportunity to farm the adept items as well. Because that's the issue, is you go into the flawless pool and it's harder to get back to those 7 wins than for everyone else, because you're in the flawless pool. I guess it's just like, give the average player opportunities to farm that adept loot if they're on a hot streak, if they're putting in the effort, but also, like, I understand people want to go flawless and everything, but it's like, do you just want to be gifted flawless? Is that what you want? Or do you want to fight for it and do you want to improve? Because here's the thing, is if you show up to an LFG group for a raid and you've got an SMG and a sidearm equipped, you've got no like charged with light mods, you've got no war mine cell, you've got nothing. You don't have an exotic equipped. Everyone's going to go, what are you doing? Like, you're just showing up to get carried. You haven't put any effort into improving your gear and set yourself up for success. So if you're showing up to PvP and you've got terrible weapons, you don't have any sort of build going that might help you in PvP, you still have your old PvE mods on, it's like you're doing the bare minimum here. You never play PvP and you just expect to go flawless. And I think that I don't want it to be this like pinnacle of like godly gamers, but at least put in some time to improve and beat the average people, because average people last weekend were going flawless and they were farming it. They were farming it and 5-0ing people because they put in a little bit of time playing. You know, they have put in some time playing. They're not the best players ever, and they were still farming because there are a lot of bad players that, like, unfortunately, like, if you look at a bell curve, there's a lot of people, you know, 96% of people are within 2 standard deviations of that middle, right? So there's a lot of people that are just slightly above average and slightly below. And so if you put in any effort to improve, watch a true Vanguard video, watch the old Crucible School videos, try to improve yourself and learn how to read the radar, things like that, you will go flawless. But it can't just be given. I don't know.
Yeah, like that's something as well. Like, it's interesting. There's someone in the chat saying that, like, hey, that's a bad straw man argument. Like, there's plenty of people who didn't go flawless. Well, keep trying. It's like saying, I want to I want to be the next Jeff Bezos. I try, and one day later, well, I couldn't do it. Like, brother, keep trying. Like, you can't just give up immediately. And importantly, here's the thing. And this is something I think that has passed over all of the casual players. Why do you need to go flawless? Like, genuinely, why? Like, you don't need adept loot. A normal Reed's Regret has the same DPS, right? A normal messenger is cracked. And like, all of these rewards are good in and of itself. Do you really need the adept version? The entire point of the adept version is that they're hard to get. Like, you see someone with an adept weapon and you're like, woo, this guy went flawless, right? Like, he might be good. He's got an adept messenger, he might be good, right? So it's like, if you diminish that, if you make it so that by the end of the weekend, all the good players are in the flawless pool and it's completely free to go flawless, like, what are we doing here? And also, if that's the case, why are we showering you with rewards? Like, it seems to me that the whole point now, and this is why I'm so confused, is that Bungie has now designed trials that the average player, the low skill player, can go in, they're going to lose, but they're going to get some good rewards. They're going to get some engrams. Then they can turn it into the messenger. And suddenly they get a God Roll messenger. And suddenly they do a bit better. And they come back next weekend. And then they get some better stuff. And they get some higher stat armor. And then they come back the next weekend. And every weekend they're coming back and they're getting more and more loot. And eventually they go flawless. That's like the dream scenario. Now, obviously, you don't want people coming in, versing Grenadier Jake 3 times in a row, getting crushed, getting frustrated, and leaving. That's something you do want to avoid. And so I agree with, there should be a flawless pool while you're farming a flawless card, 100%. And even you, TV, there should be maybe some extreme ends matchmaking, like skill-based matchmaking, so you don't have the best of the best matching someone who just started playing
ones
yesterday.
and tens, yeah.
Like, let's calm down with that. I agree with that. There should be some safety net. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's very confusing that people think they like deserve flawless. Like, I couldn't get flawless, change the entire matchmaking system so I can. It's like, what? At some point you have to look at a little bit of self-improvement. And again, it's like the whole point of flawless is that it's hard. Like, right. It exists because it's difficult to attain.
And
right?
Jim in chat is saying that I was kind of like straw manning or whatever, and he's like, well, this is about the players that are working really hard and like they're not showing up with bad loadouts and all of that. But the thing is like, if you are a decent player or a good player and you're coming with good loadouts, statistically, if you kind of hammer this, you'll go flawless. Because the 1%, Grenadier Jake and Frostbolt, even if you don't take them out of the player pool, you're only going to match them 1% of the time. They're the top 1%. You're only going to match them 1 out of 100 games, right? And so if you are above average and you genuinely are above average, you'll go flawless. Because you're going to beat the vast majority of players mathematically, statistically, use your mercy. Like, you'll get there. And if you're not getting there, maybe you're not as good as you think you are. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't mean to be a dick, but like, if you're not going flawless, then maybe you do need to put in some more time and practice. So,
dude, people will not admit they're bad. People were like, nope, the entire game should change around me before I admit I need to get better at the game.
No.
Like, it is a real thing. At the same time, the hardcores think that they should be matching people who just started yesterday, which is also completely unfair. They're like,
I gotta say,
it's kind of like weight classes. You have weight classes in fighting, so a heavyweight can't fight a featherweight. Like, that would be an unfair fight.
Yeah, like
right?
me versus Kackis, he'd just stomp me. Like, he would just ground pound me, and there's nothing I could do. He'd snap my wrists.
In a perfect world, the really good players wouldn't be resetting at 6 wins. They would be going flawless and getting themselves out of that pool and allowing for the lower tiered players to slowly start increasing their odds of making it. But that we don't live in a perfect world, and and while this isn't me and this isn't the guys that I run with, there are people out there who do just want to stomp casuals. They want to get their clips, and this was one of the things that I hated back in Destiny 1. You remember all these videos, content creators? I posted one of these videos, and then it was like right at the beginning of Trials, and then I realized how scummy it was and never did it again. But I don't know if you remember this. Because it was card-based matchmaking, what content creators would do is they would queue in with a full team and have 2 people leave. And so they would play against a team on the very beginning of their card that was like a 2 out of 10 skill level. And of course, they're a streamer, elite, professional gamer who's a 10 out of 10. And then they'd post these like, we ran out of medals, didn't die a single time, won a trials match in a 1v3 situation. It's just me against a whole team by myself, stomped them. And they upload it and they get thousands of views. It's like, bro, you just walked into a, kiddie pool and just started throwing elbows at kids. Like, that's not impressive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what the 6-win reset is to me. I know that there are some content creators out there and streamers out there who only did it because they wanted to help other players out later in the week go flawless. They want to carry them and not punish that player and make it harder for them. But here's also another aspect of that. They will tell you they're doing it because they don't want the carry to have a bad experience. What they actually mean is, I want my carrying to go more smoothly, and I want to be able to do it more reliably. So
I also feel like
I don't really believe that.
I also feel like if you're doing a carry stream, you are helping 2 people go flawless. But if you are punishing average players who are queued in as 3 or they're 3 solo players, you are also actively shutting down
the bad guy.
3 people's cards, right? Because
you're the bad guy.
You can go flawless anyways. So like Math says, you're actually not helping the community. You're helping your community, but you're not helping the community.
Yeah,
so
right.
There's a lot of loopholes and issues here, and in resetting and what are they going to do with the matchmaking? I'm curious if we're going to do another week of this just to see where it's at.
I think what's fair is they should next weekend have the flawless pool reset when you reset your card. And let's look at the numbers there. If you still see a decline in people playing, then maybe that wasn't a factor. If you see a huge reduction in the people that are going flawless, that's a problem. I think what Bungie did this weekend is totally fair if they try some more things to compare it to. Like, they had one weekend without it, right? Yeah. And this is the annoying part. They had one weekend to collect data, and then they changed it. So now it's like really hard to for sure know what's all going on here. Like, at least have 2 or 3 weeks with the normal matchmaking, then introduce this new matchmaking for another 2 or 3 weeks, and then we can compare the metrics there. But right now, again, you have these hard to measure metrics like a different map, and then everyone's like throwing hate at each other. And that's the thing. That's another thing. Like, listen. Again, like, I shoot dregs all day, and suddenly I'm like a hardcore PvP sweat lord who all I want to do is like stomp people. It's like, bro, if you can't beat KackisHD to get flawless, do you deserve flawless? I just get, but you know what I'm saying, right? And it's weird. Like, the most toxicity I saw was actually coming from like the upset dads. I hate to say it, but it's like they were streamers. It's like, the streamers are out to get us, all this crap. Maybe that's just because of my Twitter feed, but it was really toxic. And it's like, dude, you can't go to war with the streamers. The streamers are a huge reason people play this damn game. Like, if it wasn't builds and so on recommended and hyped by the streamers, like the game would lose a lot of interest. And the streamers are the people that keep playing the game when all the casuals quit every time the season dies down, right? So you don't. But seriously, you can't go against them. But then you also the hardcores are being super toxic back to the casuals. It's like, dude, there's no game without the casuals.
Yeah,
Like, the-
exactly. The only
the
reason you
game
have an
died.
audience is because of them. So it's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
you
So
want
it's
them to
like-
have a good time.
It's crazy. It's like, listen, I had some absolute ass clown on Twitter he was like, all streamers are selfish. And I'm like, you're being toxic. He's like, how is that toxic? I'm just sharing an opinion. I'm like, bro. Anyways, like,
Well, your opinion is toxic.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't, like, everyone just wants to have fun in the game, right? And so I think there is a legitimate, like, the casuals are right that they shouldn't match Grenade or Jake on a no-win card every time. Like, they're right about that. But the hardcores are also right that, like, if I go flawless, I should be able to play with a friend and not screw them over. Like, that's correct.
Fair,
right?
sure.
So we need to find a middle ground that merges both of those. Protect the brand new players, but also going flawless shouldn't be a punishment, right?
Right.
Actually, that's a good segue. Speaking of middle ground, everyone at this point has decided to sue Blizzard Activision. Now, the SEC is stepping in. Blizzard literally, it's just week after week after week.
More bad news.
More bad news. The lead on Overwatch 2 left the company. During one of the biggest legal battles Blizzard is ever going to experience, most likely, their chief legal officer, the lead lawyer,
I'm gonna head out, boys.
she left the company, okay? She dipped out of the company. She's like, this is not worth it. I am gone. How terrifying is that when your chief legal officer, the person who's supposed to protect your company, says, I'm out here, bro. We done.
I didn't sign up
bad.
for this, baby.
That's right. Well, and with the SEC stuff is interesting to me. I want to know what that's about because everything up to this point has really been about the ethical treatment of employees and the atmosphere within the company. And it's interesting. SEC getting involved. It is what they typically deal with is more like market manipulation stuff, all right? Because the SEC was formed with the fallout of the Wall Street stuff and back in 1929. Like it's not really about, you know what I mean, how you treat your
a lot of
employees.
like almost like nepotism type stuff, like who, like they're promoting people over other people and stuff like that.
And
I think
hundreds of millions of dollars in bonuses to the CEO. And it's like, okay, well,
Sure.
could that money have been better for the
Yeah,
investors? Could it have been reinvested into R&D,
that
into
bonus
human
is
resources?
looking
Right?
so bad right now, dude.
Truly, because it's like if all these issues are happening, but you're getting $150 million bonus, that is enough money to do all of these human resource checks, pay for education for people for sexual harassment, whatever it is. That is so much money that could be better used in the company to provide for the people. And it's like you're not paying women enough money. You're paying them less than the men, but now you're getting a $150 million bonus. So it's like, wow.
So the women
Where's that
say-
money coming from, bro?
The women are like, we could probably, you could probably pay us more for our expertise. And what they did instead was like, we hear you. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take all this extra money and we're gonna hire a firm to make you guys shut up. Sound good?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Dude, like it could not be any worse. Like it couldn't be any worse. And it's just like, again, their next big game is Call of Duty Vanguard. That is their next claim to fame. Call of Duty Vanguard. So, like, how's that going to work? How's that going to work? Are they even going to be able, like, you're trying to work on Call of Duty Vanguard and you have to go because you're, you get subpoenaed by the SEC? Like, what, and you, like...
Well, and
what's supposed to even happen there?
Like their share price, even in the last 5 days, went from $82 down to $72. So they've got almost 12% loss. In the last 6 months, their stock has gone from almost $100 on some days. They've lost 20% market share right now, or sorry, 20% in their share price, I should say, not market share, but their share price. And so the SEC is also stepping in because it's like, maybe you haven't disclosed to your investors how big of a deal this is. You're getting investigated by the California government. You're getting sued by the workers now, right? So the SEC is saying, what's going on here? Like this is pretty big for a multi-billion-dollar company, right? And
No doubt.
100%.
you know, if you're actively doing this as some of the higher ups in the company, and people don't know about it, and you're like, that's how can people invest in your company if they don't have this information? Because you're doing this behind the closed doors. I would never invest in that company if I found out, hey, by the way, Diablo 4, Warcraft, Overwatch 2, these games are all getting delayed because no one's even working on them. No one's even working on the game because of these lawsuits. So
they're
it's
all
like
in court.
yeah. So it's like, so you're delaying profits of hundreds of billions of dollars, or sorry, hundreds of millions to billions of dollars, years potentially, because of all this lawsuit and drama. So it's not looking good for Blizzard. They are they're not out of the hot water. They just turned up the temperature.
That's right.
So
Who else is in hot water, Mike?
who else is in hot water? My favorite, Genshin Impact, boys. I'm
I want to hear all the drama here. Explain what the
I'm
hell's going on.
I'm gonna implore you, go search up the Genshin Impact Twitter and go to anything they've posted in the last week and just look at the comments. Every single one is gonna say no, bye, a clown face, screw you guys. The community is revolting over the anniversary coming up on the 28th. We're within a week now of the anniversary, and typically in many gacha games, the companies give back to their player base by giving them a bunch of free stuff. Well, unfortunately, MiHoYo, the creators of Genshin Impact, they haven't given anything away. They've given no news of stuff they're going to give away other than community events. Hey, share our Twitter page, share our YouTube page, have a chance to win. And we're talking 100 people out of the millions of people that play will get a reward. We're talking 5 iPhones given away for a massive art thing where thousands of people are putting in some of the best art I've ever seen. There's like 4 winners, and it's like, good luck, way to go. All of the anniversary stuff is super big community, super big engagement, but almost no one can win. And the consolation prizes are like, hey, you can farm that in 4 minutes in Genshin Impact just from regularly playing. And, you know, MiHoYo has been in hot water because even their daily login rewards are really pathetic. And people were kind of joking, oh, for the anniversary, they're going to give us, you know, 2 chickens and, you know, just this garbage that no one wants.
And
But
then
it turns out they might be, or worse, they might not be giving anything. And so if they don't announce anything today, I'm actually probably going to make a video because I've been trying to bide my time. Maybe they announce the community stuff first so people would have time to enter. And that makes sense, but they keep putting out these scheduled tweets. Pretty much every day at around 10 p.m., a new scheduled tweet. And the first one's like, hey, what about the rewards? The next one, all right, where's the rewards? And then the next one,
No, but
what the hell is
seriously.
going on? So now people are just revolting. People are mad.
Yeah. Well,
Everyone's making videos.
Sounds like they backed themselves into a corner because even if they did have rewards planned ahead of time, if they say something about them now, everyone's just going to think it's a reaction to all of the criticism. Like they're not even going to get credit for it being already planned.
And it might have been an amazing reward, but everyone's like, you're lucky, you know? And I guess the thing is that is confusing to me is they must have someone on their social media team seeing all of these negative comments. Literally every comment is negative.
It's one guy on like the English social media team, or like the North America social media team that's like, guys, like, brother, or is it like everywhere? Do they have multiple accounts, region locked? Or is it just one?
I don't know. They might have another account. I haven't really looked. They might.
Because is the Chinese account, if they do have that, all negative from those people too?
Oh yeah, like a bunch of people are. Oh yeah, every region is roasting it.
Then there's no communication issue. It's everyone's just pissed.
Yeah,
and they might have actually nothing and be panicking right now.
And that's the thing is like, if they see all of this backlash and they do have a reward, you think that they would panic and be like, guys, sorry, we haven't communicated. There is a reward coming, and kind of reassure you. But they haven't done that. And so that's the weird thing is, if you have this reward, you know it'll make people happy. It will shut them up. Why would you let it go for days and days now? We're talking like a week plus of people hating on the game, and it's super negative. Maybe they want like the negative reactions.
No press is bad press kind of thing.
It's like it's free press for them, but it is very, very weird. Like we're talking like the giveaways are like half of a pull for one character. So like it's essentially a blue up. Like it's insane. And there are some big ones like 10,000 Primo Gems. If you submit a winning art piece better than the 1,000, like just go on the Genshin Impact Reddit and look at the art. Like, you're not gonna win that. Bro, Picasso ain't winning that. I'm telling you, like, you'd have to be an art god. But the other thing too is they just released a character. Terrible. Like, she's just terrible. Everyone's raging. There's a funny post from like the Chinese community, and they're like, "Wow, is Kikomi the I think they said like a Hydro Lolachurl or something like that, or Samachurl, which is one of like the basic enemies in the game."
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, "No, that's actually a better character than Kikomi. Like, that basic enemy is better than this 5-star." So people are mad about that. But one of the biggest issues, and actually Tectone brought it up, is they've been shutting down leaks like crazy. They tried to shut down a website. There's been YouTubers losing their channels. They do not want people leaking anything from the game. But then, people have been complaining about this Kokomi character forever, and they didn't change her. So it's like, you just don't want people telling everyone that the character's bad because you want to bait them into getting it. So now there's a whole other thing there saying that MiHoYo is trying to silence people of the truth. And so they really need to do something here. They are in hot water from multiple different angles. But
and throughout all of this, there's still, you can't play more than half an hour worth of content in a day because the freaking shit system, the resin system.
I honestly think there will be a mass exodus of players soon. And especially content creators, because no one is publicly saying it, but you can just kind of see it in their eyes as they're playing, how bored they are. And a lot of like passive aggressive tweets and stuff, like they're just not happy.
Yeah.
I have been bored for ages, but it's my main game right now. And I do, when the game shines, it shines, and I want to showcase it. And when they added the new islands, it's amazing. But the in-between time is just so slow. I think that if they're not careful, if they don't react to this this Kokomi and anniversary stuff, I think a lot of people will probably quit. But we'll see.
Well, they're probably just like, who cares? People can only play in 3 hours a week.
All right.
Oh,
well, they're also like, we're not worried about these guys quitting. They've already dumped $600 into our game anyways at this point. They're not quitting.
6,000.
Yeah, they're laughing. Now, let's move on to the YouTube stuff. So right before stream, YouTube posted some big news. Fwiz was showing off. They have now added membership, I guess like anniversary.
Like substreaks.
Yeah, like substreaks. So if you guys are members to the channel, even here, you'll be able to share when you hit an anniversary. You hit 5 months or 6 months or whatever, you're going to be able to do a little thing in chat, which is honestly pretty cool. It's a little community thing that I think goes a long way, is being able to celebrate that. Because when a streamer says, "Holy cow, you've been subbed for a year, thank you," it is a bit of a personal thing, and I think that it draws a lot of attention. And I feel like you should get some recognition if you've been subbed to a channel for a year.
Yeah, well, I even still do my sub streaks for some of the people. I don't sub to a ton of people on Twitch, but I still show up every now and then to do my sub streaks. Like, it's a good feeling just to let them know, like, hey, I'm still here. Yeah, I've been with you for a long time now. I'm still along for the ride. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think there's a lot of merit to that. Not only that, but Fwiz also tweeted out literally right before we went live that they were doing another feature that's been highly requested, and that's the ability to have be able to see the chat and the gameplay at the same time on mobile. So if you're on mobile now,
which is everybody,
a lot of people watch mobile. Now you don't have to like sacrifice one for the other. Like, oh, I'm gonna check the chat, can't see the gameplay anymore. It's a tiny little screen over here in the corner. You know what I'm saying? Now you can just watch both of them seamlessly. They got that whole integration. It's
actually
great.
Even think about our podcast here. You can be engaging with the chat and enjoying the chat and talking with people while still being able to watch. It's a minor thing. Maybe we're not doing gameplay, but you don't have to sacrifice that anymore. Like, the fact that you had to sacrifice it sucks.
You could be watching me rant and watching everyone get mad at me for interrupting.
Exactly.
This is a perfect viewer experience.
And I mean, these are just things that are making the YouTube and Twitch gap less and less and less. Twitch is losing market share. It is losing competitive advantage. And as soon as they add gifted subs on YouTube,
Yeah,
I
and
don't
that's
know.
right around the corner.
I think
Listen,
people are gonna leave.
I
Twitch.
have already seen a lot of Twitch content creators say, I'm considering making a change. And a lot of people still ask me. They still ask me because they know that I just finished up my 2-year tenure over Facebook Gaming. And they're like, what made you choose YouTube over Twitch? And I'm like, I'm going to give it to you straight. I was already a partner on YouTube, have been for a long time. They're not exclusive. I can hit the ground running. And if I don't like it, I can switch at any time. Not only that, they only take 25% of your sub revenue. Twitch takes half of it right off the rip, and if you want,
And
I don't
spends
even
it
know.
on nothing.
And then not only that, but like I was at the 70-30 split before I left Twitch. They won't let. I will never get back there probably. I will probably stay at the 50%. That's like an upper tier of a partnership, and you have to sort of like earn your way there. But they're sort of notoriously a little bit petty about people who have left the platform and have come back. So I just don't have any, I have no faith in them that I would ever get back to that 70-30 split. But YouTube's like, take 75 and do it today. By the way, customize your sub price points. And I'm like, okay, here's what I'll do. I'll make my baseline sub cost $3 as opposed to $5 on Twitch. It would be $5 and I would make, half of that.
$2.50.
But now on YouTube, it's like I'm making basically the same amount per sub, just a fraction less. Basically, I'm making the same amount of money per sub, and my viewers are spending less. It's like, it's a no freaking brainer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a no brainer. Plus, Twitch also has the problem of discoverability. A lot of people are upset because they've been at the grind for a long time, but nobody's scrolling down to the bottom of the directory to find their stream. And it creates this, it's more work for them because now they have to go to Twitter or TikTok or the forums for whatever game they're playing, and they have to make a reputation for themselves and create a seed community somewhere else and import them into their Twitch stream. And YouTube's like, nah, if people like your stream will be found. Anytime people are liking it, we take notice and we push it out for more people. When people type into the chat, we notice. We track chat rate. That's one of your main data points for every stream. On your dashboard, it's showing you your chat rate because it gauges engagement and it tries to figure out the quality of your stream, not just how many people are watching.
Twitch doesn't show you chat rate because so many people are view buying.
That's right. It's a no freaking brainer.
Yeah.
Got him.
YouTube is on the up and up. I see a lot of potential there. The only reason I don't go is because I do have that 70% because I'm too scared to leave. And it's like, the diversity. The diversity is cool. I really like it, but I'm too scared to swap because I think YouTube is the future, and I would never recommend anyone streams on Twitch ever. I would say take 2 years on YouTube. To take 2 years on YouTube and then drag an audience over, you'd have a 10 times bigger audience than starting on Twitch any day of the week.
Yeah, that's true. That's how I got started on Twitch.
Yeah,
because I already had a YouTube community.
Exactly.
And I hit the ground running.
Yeah. My first stream on Twitch, I had 170 viewers because I told everyone, hey, I'm going to stream on Twitch. I'm going to try it out. And that's not normal. Normally, you're supposed to start at 0. But I was already up in the directory of Destiny, and then everyone's like, who the hell is this guy? Like,
Yeah.
I've never even seen this guy in my life. My little PS4 camera, my scuffed setup. Yeah, it was fun. I was playing Rumble on Anomaly, I remember. And I got 170 viewers like my first stream. I was like, holy shit, amazing.
Oh, I'm popular.
Yeah.
Yeah,
let's move on really quickly. We did take a lot of time on Destiny. Diablo resurrected tomorrow. Kenna
out now.
Today.
Just released, getting some great reviews from people. Some people calling it a masterpiece. People beating it in one sitting. I know Noah, like J45, whatever, J456.
Yeah, Noah.
He played it in one sitting. He's like, I couldn't stop. He apparently beat it in one sitting. Just couldn't get off. Glad marathon streamed it because it was so much fun. A lot of people are talking about it. New World is coming out, next week on the 28th. There's a lot of stuff happening in just the next few days, but we're closing the gap on a new Call of Duty Vanguard. Assassin's Creed, you were saying, Ryan?
No, Far Cry 6.
Far Cry 6, sorry. Yeah,
we're like, what, 2.5 weeks-ish away from Far Cry 6, something like that?
Right. So...
Battlefield is right around the... It got delayed. It got delayed, but...
hearing
coming.
all these games just makes me think it's like even like a better idea. Like it's even better that Witch Queen is coming out in February, right? It's like
Far
like
Cry,
dude,
Call of Duty, Battlefield, like
Activision Activision's like, we're gonna have another big fall release, and they kind of made Bungie stick to that fall schedule. And I think obviously Halo was and stuff, and there's certainly something to it, right? Not only do you get a big chunk, like big amount of people buying it in the fall, but you have the huge influx because of Christmas. All these kids buying it. You mean the Christmas noobs is like a thing in gaming, right? The Christmas noobs are on,
Yeah.
right? So you definitely have, it's like an important thing, but you gotta look historically. You guys remember Red Dead Redemption came out in like the summer when nothing, Redemption 1, nothing was happening, and it sold like crazy because every kid's bored out of their mind, right? And it's like there's no games out. So I think it's gonna be really interesting releasing Witch Queen in February. What's coming out February? Nothing, dude. So like no Call of Duty, no Battlefield. There's not this big rat race for the fall, and I think it kind of like lets people play those games and then be ready for Destiny.
Well, Genshin is not as popular as it is because it's the best game ever made. It's good. It's definitely good, but it released when there was nothing going on. There was no games going on. There was Destiny, shortly after, Beyond Light came out, but I mean, there was no big games going on when Genshin launched. It was very isolated by itself. And so I think there is a lot of value releasing when everyone isn't. Why would you try to compete in November when there's no game in March or April or something like that? I understand that maybe not everyone has that money, but at the same time, if they blew all their money in November on all these big releases, like if they're gamers, they're probably saving up. They see your game on the radar.
Bring tax returns, baby.
Right? Truly.
I remember getting those. It's been so long.
Yeah. Respawn just tweeted. Let's see.
But what?
I don't know yet, so I'm gonna go look.
Respawn. They've had all kinds of issues lately with their servers and crossplay and stuff.
Contrary to what some folks are reporting, Titanfall is the very core of our DNA. Who knows what the future holds? What? Why would you say that?
Listen,
why would you say that?
I'm not gonna get my hopes up that means Titanfall 3 is anywhere close to being underway. Because what they've started to do is really merge the worlds of Titanfall and Apex Legends into one. You know, they had the whole season devoted to Valkyrie and pulling in her character as the daughter of one of the bosses that you fight in Titanfall 2, and they've really been trying to weave those two worlds into each other.
Yeah, that's interesting that they'd say that.
It is interesting, but I don't know. I'm not gonna hold out hope. I would default to the side of saying that just means we're gonna see more Titanfall influence on Apex Legends. But who knows? I hope I'm wrong.
Or like Titanfall remaster.
They've got the capital. They've got the freaking capital if they wanted to.
The thing is, though, if you're making a statement that you're saying this is a core part of our identity, like who knows the future holds. If you're not doing something big, that's just the dumbest thing you'd ever tweet, because now everyone's thinking you're going to do something, and if you're not going to go back and fix the servers and you're not going to stop the cheating, then you just look dumb. So they better have something planned, or else people are going to go from Genshin over to Respawn and be like, we hate you too now. Like, I don't know. Yeah. We'll have to see. There. But interesting. But that's it for the main topics. If we want to open up the floor to some different comments, we'll do some RGH After Dark. All our community members can just send in some quick questions. We'll try to answer them as we go. Thank you so much. Really quick shout out to our sponsor, Advanced GG. They make a bunch of amazing flavors like the Mtashed Mango Splash, the Kakkis Kiwi Lime. They've got shaker cups. They got everything you need. And I'm telling you, this is a quality premium product. If you want to try out Advanced, any of the amazing flavors, you don't got to get ours. Go to advanced.gg and use code RGH so that we can all make some money and you can save some money. 10% off with code RGH at advanced.gg.
Go to Twitter right now and at AdvancedGG and say, listen, I want True Vanguard Blackberry Mojito.
Oh my
Just do it.
That would be
Trust
so
it.
good. That'd be so good.
Is it alcoholic?
That'd be.
Oh, I hope so.
We had some donations. Unfortunately, they do disappear if we don't get to them, and when we're in the middle of a topic, we don't always do them. I did see there was like a $5 donation. We got a 9-month membership, a $10 donation from Kenneth, David with an Elite Gamer membership. Thank you guys so much for joining in. We appreciate it, and thanks for all leaving some likes on the podcast here today. What do we got from questions?
What we already got the question. What's TV drinking? I started out with a paper plane. Paper plane is a really good whiskey cocktail. It's real easy if you ever want to make one of these at home. It's because it's 4 ingredients.
You can't drink a paper plate.
4 ingredients, all equal parts. Do 1 ounce of lemon juice, 1 ounce of Aperol, 1 ounce of Amaro, preferably no Nino, but you could use Montenegro if you have that instead, and bourbon. 1 ounce of each. Shake it, pour it, drink it. Paper
You
plane.
act like that's an easy cocktail. For me, it's like, okay, rum, Coke. That's a cocktail, baby. Like there we go. Now we're talking.
Is it challenging to add equal parts of 4 things? Is 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 challenging?
When you add the schmaguli or whatever freaking word, preferably
Simpletons, chat.
Montenegro.
Simpletons.
Montenegro from Montenegro. And like, bro, what the frick? I don't gotta go to Montenegro. I don't have anything from Montenegro. Like, I just want to have a quick drink, baby.
Dude, True Vanguard is a guy, he climbs a mountain in the Himalayas to get like a chili pepper that only grows once a month, and he grates that in his drink. And the thing is, I want to be there. I want to be there to enjoy it, but he won't fly me out. He's such a cheap. He won't even fly me out to come enjoy it. He's got this kayak he keeps ranting about and saying, "Oh, it's so amazing." I didn't get invited on the kayak. What the hell?
Yeah, right?
Jeez, I thought we were friends.
I had a great morning on the yak. I
bet you did.
Yesterday, I had a nice full thermos of coffee, took it out with me. 5:30 in the morning, I was out there on the water, baby.
What about a nice hot chocolate on the water? Or a mocha? What about a mocha on the kayak? Might be nice.
No, I'm not trying to get fat.
Fair. There was a question about the Trials Labs thing. Oh yeah, they're doing a control or something for Trials. That'll be kind of interesting. Something different.
Yeah, and they're doing at some point they're doing like a what's it called? A freaking solo, like a freelance playlist. So it's only solos.
Right.
And that'll be really interesting as well.
Chris, the $5 donation. When are we gonna get the Vanguard cocktail hour? I'd sign up for that. I would love that.
Sign up for that.
Just like,
I would love to do that. That'd be so much fun.
Make a few drinks and like here's the ingredients you need. You could send out a flyer beforehand. Like, get these ingredients. We'll make it together so you can actually try it.
I still think that the Kackis cocktail that I made up is still one of my favorites of my original recipes. That was a really freaking good cocktail.
Yeah, he does have a nice cocktail. Hey, what?
You have no idea.
David Sluss is a little sus with a $5 donation. What class do you think? What class do y'all think pairs best with the Ager Scepter? Is that how you say it?
That's a Kackis question.
If you're talking about PvE, I did a guide video, like I did a build video on the Warlock and the Hunter. And I think both of them are really good. They have really good synergies with the Scepter. The Titan isn't quite as good for PvE for that stuff.
I don't have it yet because I don't care. I looked at it and I was like, that looks like a really cool PvE thing. I'll get around to it eventually.
It's nutty in PvE, like truly nutty.
Okay, kind of off topic, but now I'm just thinking about this. Ryan, when you go out on the kayak, are you like ripping around out there, or are you like paddling a couple times and then you're just enjoying the scenery, or are you like kind of ripping? Like you're going.
Here's what I do.
Sweating.
Yeah, here's what I do. So I go hard and heavy right off the rip because I want to get a good upper body workout in. It's also good aerobic activity, which is great for dad body gut. I got to keep that in check. So I go hard and heavy for quite a while until I get a good workout in, and then once I start seeing pink on the horizon because the sun comes up over the trees on the far end of the lake, that's when I start to just, all right, we're gonna veg. This is now TV unwind time. So I wrap up with about a solid 15 hours on the water, just chilling and exploring, and head back.
That's beautiful. I'm excited. I want to do that one day with you. Holy hands.
Loose. Got it. Thanks, David.
Yeah, Sluice with another $5 donation. Thank you. What is the
Which
best
one would
class?
you choose? Yeah.
You have to choose one for the scepter. Which class? You have to choose one.
Right now, Warlock. When there's like a stasis, there's a stasis mod that's coming out that makes your stasis crystals count as elemental wells. When that comes out, Hunter.
Ooh.
I said 15 hours. I meant 15 minutes. My bad. I definitely don't spend 15 hours on the.
You wouldn't have time for anything.
It's about a solid hour and a half, start to finish for me.
I like how every single question is about Destiny. Are we a Destiny podcast? I feel like we are now. All we do is talk about Destiny.
Dude, it's finally alive again. It's like finally
They've got
alive.
big topics.
People are actually watching.
You
my
might
content
have to
again.
replace me with someone else. If all that
Yeah, exactly. I
don't know anything about the game anymore, bro. I couldn't remember what the shoot button was. No, it honestly, like, I've been playing it. I mean, Fruit was playing. I played with him this weekend doing trials. He hasn't done trials in like 3 years.
Yeah, I played trials with Dr. Lupo this weekend.
Oh, yeah, you
I was
said,
like, heck yeah.
You and who did you play with?
Ninja with Noel, because our tournament team back in D1 that I played was me, Lupo, Ninja with Noel, and Ramblin'. We were team casual, and we competed in a bunch of the Destiny tournaments at the time. So we've got a really rich history with that stuff.
Sweet.
All right, that's gonna be about.
Did you just do one flawless?
We did 2 full cards.
How was it like first card compared to second card? Was like instantly sweaty or no?
What it was? So we were on PC, but I had already gone flawless, so we were all in the flawless matchmaking pool.
Yeah.
From game 1.
Yeah. No,
so
same. Honestly,
we took a couple of L's that night against some good teams, but I think we lost 2 games total.
I mean,
something like that.
I guess the one thing I will say about the flawless pool and like trials overall is I have been playing stacked, and my account is stacked. Like, I've got a sick SMG, I've got a sick linear fusion rifle. Like, if you want good rewards and you put in the time, trials is insane. And the amount of engrams that I got, like, it's changed my account. I've got so many high rolls now on my armor because a lot of my gear did get sunset, and I didn't replace it because I was MIA. I didn't have enough time to play. And so trials honestly has kind of fixed my account on multiple characters. So, you know, I'm excited to see where trials goes.
Again, like, that's the thing. You get showered in loot, like base loot. I think keeping flawless still like a high risk reward, like a hard to get reward, is not the end of the world. Like, I felt like it was kind of weird. Like, people were like, oh yeah, I solo queued and I didn't go flawless. It's like, yeah, I got 17 rewards that are great, but I still didn't go flawless, so trash game mode. It's like, bro, you still got so much good stuff.
Yeah. Thank you, Xerex, for $5 donation. TV plays on a 6, he said, as well. Hasn't changed his sensitivity. Thanks for the donations. Thanks for all the love, all the likes, views. Make sure to sub to this because we do this every Wednesday night. The RGH podcast, Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm Mtashed.
I'm KackisHD.
I'm True Vanguard.
Catch you later.